Some cars chase attention, others simply earn it. This is the new Renault 5, and it's not just another retro reboot, it's a resurrection. Born in the 70s, raised on rally stages and winding European streets, the original Renault 5 wasn't built to impress, it was built to belong. To families, to dreamers, to anyone who saw it as a bit of a rebellion in the everyday. And now, it's back. Not in a museum piece, look but don't touch sort of way, but reimagined for a world that's lost touch with fun, with quirk and with soul. In a sea of soulless crossovers and grayscale conformity, this little French rebel shows up like a wink from the past and a promise for the future. Because some cars aren't just driven, they're remembered. This is just beautiful. Welcome to the Peak District, and welcome to the car that needs absolutely zero introduction. This might just be my favourite new car currently on sale. I'm Daniel Echthaus, and welcome to Daniel Drives. So, the very kind people at Renault have lent me this little car for the week to get to know what it's like to live with, but also to bond with. And boy, have I bonded with it. This car goes back to Renault tomorrow down in London when I'll collect my Panda and drive the long drive home. And I'm genuinely going to be gutted to see this little car go. It's not often with new cars that you bond with it and, you get a sense of its personality. But this is one of the very few cars that does that to you. It gets under your skin and you gain a friendship with this car. This is just a random 25 plate Renault, but I've really bonded with it. It's become a bit of a friend over this past few days, just going to the shops, going on random drives just because. And it's proof that electric cars can be exciting and you can love them. Doesn't this car look great? So many modern cars now are so aggressive, and you see them in the rear view mirror, massive grille, aggressive headlights, and it's basically screaming, get out the way. But if you see one of these in your rear view mirror, it's going, hey, fellow road user, how are you doing today? It's polite, it's friendly, and obviously it harks back to the original Renault 5 of old, which is very different to this, but also very similar. That's what I love about it. And you've got these headlights, kind of the teardrop effect headlights, these DRLs here, the bottom half being the indicators, and it just looks good. It's a simple design that looks genuinely attractive. You've got the new style Renault badge as well, tapping into its heritage, and it's very similar to our Megane E-Tech, which you can check out the review for. It's actually the last video on the channel, go check that out. But honestly, I prefer this just for the look of it because, you just love it. Similar to a lot of modern cars these days, it looks a lot bigger than it is. It's quite deceiving. And I'm sure many viewers at home are going to be going, that's not a Renault 5, it's a massive SUV. It's not, don't worry. It's actually quite a small car, probably just smaller than a Golf, probably I'd say. I love how the Golf is kind of like the universal size comparison nowadays. But yeah, I love the design at the rear as well. Very simple. You've got Renault in plain letters, which I think is quite nice. It's quite clean. And you've got the all-important 5 slanted, which is a theme that's pretty much all around the car. Lots of little design elements. I love these rear lights, and at night time they look really good, kind of like 80s retro games almost. It looks really quite cool. And you've got this kind of design element here which harks back to the old Renault 5 Turbo, a very cool car, a dream car, let's be honest. And it reminds me of the air the air vents pushing air out the engine, obviously mid-engined. This one definitely isn't. But yeah, it's just little things like that that people have spent a lot of time thinking about back at the Renault factory when designing this car, and I just think it's paid off. Let's climb inside the Renault 5. It's getting windy in the Peak District. Oh yes, it's another opening graphic. I love these things. Same on the Megane, you've got kind of like a digital thingy going on the screens in front of you with like quite a inspiring sound, like come on, let's go on a journey. It's a lot plusher in here than the original Renault 5, I'll say that for sure. It's really nice. Renault could have messed this up quite easily, but they've done an amazing job. It's near perfect, near perfect. There's one thing, if you're a bit tall like me, the dash design kind of flows into the door, and I'll put some B-roll in, which means when you've got the door open, the dashboard kind of protrudes a bit. And if you're tall, like me, I'm about 6'2", long legs, it's very easy to bash your knee. It's not just me that's done it either. A couple of other people have kind of crawled around this car this week, and it really, really hurts. Take my word for it. But that's only a minor thing, and you forgive it like a friend. This car's got such personality, you go, bloody hell, that really hurts, but it's okay, I'll forgive you, car. It's really nice in here. It's really nice. Everything is set out sensibly. Everything feels nice. I'll turn on the ignition. It's going to make lots of kind of electrical noises at me, like modern cars do, to tell me a door's open to film, which obviously I know, because I did it. The screen in front of you, powered by Google, as with all Renault systems, and that's a great thing, because it's good that car companies are going, actually, we're not too good at doing the screens, so we'll let somebody like Google do it. And that means you've got Google Voice Assistant. Okay, Google, tell me about the Renault 5.
Sorry, I don't understand.
It doesn't understand because we've got no internet in the Peak District, obviously. But it's actually quite good to use. You can control stuff like the aircon and stuff. And because it's Google, you can download Google apps as well. You can download your Prime Video, watch the Grand Tour, or YouTube even. So when you're charging the car at a public charging station, you can catch up on the latest Daniel Drives, or maybe even the Daniel Drives podcast, which I can recommend. But no, the system is very intuitive. You've got DAB radio and everything, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and you can control all of the car settings on here as well. The screen continues to the digital display in front of you. You've got your speedo and everything, and you can also change the view, so you can have the map displayed in front of you, a little eco graph, and you can also change what's kind of in the sub-menus and stuff, like your efficiency, your range, distance, what's playing on the radio and kind of stuff like that. But it's quite nice to have the map there, because you can just glance down and see where you need to go. But yeah, it's full of quirks. This yellow interior is just amazing. It's kind of a recycled fabric, and it will be interesting to see how this weathers over time. But for now, it looks great. It feels amazing, and it's very comfortable. And I know the yellow is not going to be for everyone. I think you can get kind of like a dark blue and a grey colour as well. But I just love it in here. This is an iconic 5 model, kind of top spec. So you get kind of like a leatherette on the dash with the yellow stitching. Yellow is obviously like the theme of the 5. But it's just great. And when you change through the multi-sense modes on the steering wheel or on the screen, you've got Comfort, Eco, Sport and Perso. It changes all the mood lighting in the car, which looks great at night, and even changes the colour of the Renault 5 on the dash there, and the speedo. It's just really nice. There's lots of stalks, like our Megane. There's 3 on the right-hand side for your gear selector, wiper stalk, and for your multimedia. But you very quickly get used to it. You can forgive it, to be honest. And I think the best thing, a lot of people are going to rejoice when they hear this, you've got a button here, which if you click twice, you can turn off all the driver aids. Not like traction control on your stuff, but the annoying stuff, like the lane assist. So yeah, top marks in here. It's just full of quirks. There's a tiny little Renault 5 here, and what's not to like about that? Tiny little door handle at the top, hidden away for the design and everything, quite a nice touch. And I'll attempt to climb in the back of the Renault 5. It's quite a challenge if you're a bit like me. If you're a little kid, then it's probably going to be okay. But legroom is not a plenty. They've done that on purpose though, because this has a class-leading boot space. It's better than all of its rivals. I'll show you in a minute. It's quite impressive. But you haven't got a great deal of legroom. This is in my driving position, which is always a tough test because I'm 6'2". But yeah, if you're normal and smaller than me, you'll have more room. That's the same in a lot of cars, to be honest. Headroom is not too bad. And you've got this lovely headliner as well. It's really kind of like thick fabric, which helps with the insulation and the noise in the cabin. But no, it's not too bad. It's quite comfy again. The seats are spongy and just gives you reassurance that you can be comfy at the back of here, maybe if you've got no legs. It's a 5-seater. You can sit in the middle. For me, it's a massive squeeze, to be honest. But again, like a lot of electric cars, no transmission tunnel means you've got a completely flat floor, which means you don't have to straddle your legs onto the passengers beside you. But no, it's not too bad. And to be honest, you can forgive the leg cramps and everything when the seats are yellow. All right then, let's open the boot. 277 litres of boot space in this car. It's actually pretty good. Being electric, there's no fuel tank or anything, so the boot floor can be quite low. There's quite a drop. That's something you've got to bear in mind if you're lifting prams or anything heavy in the boot of this car, but you can fit a lot in. It's got a false floor as well, which you can, it's got the safety pack, Renault Group safety pack, whatever that is. You can store your charging cable as well, obviously Type 2 lead for your slow chargers or whatever. But no, the boot space is not too bad. I've got my rucksack in it currently, and I know you're all screaming for the Daniel Drives boot test. I really don't want to, but I'm going to do it anyway for the views, for the clicks. We're climbing. Can 277 litres swallow an entire Daniel Actor house? We'll see. Try and close this. Oh, wow. Do you know what? I'm not sure if this is going to pass it, you know. It's really cramped in here. I could close it, but I would probably decapitate myself. So I'm going to say this fails the Daniel boot space test. but it is pretty good. And obviously you shouldn't be putting bodies in the boot. But for your general suitcases and luggage, it's going to be okay. Do you ever get bored of getting back from the boulangerie and you've got a baguette in your baguette holder supplied by Renault, but there's just too many weeds around, so you can't stop and enjoy it? Well, don't worry, because Renault have offered in the Renault 5 bi-directional charging. You've got a little thingy, you do have to pay extra for this. You put it in the charge port, it's just a normal Type 2 connector, and it means you get a 3-pin plug, which means you can get your Einhell strimmer, not sponsored, and you can strim away at the annoying weeds. C'est magnifique. One feature on the Renault 5 that looks neat but is also really useful is this on the bonnet. This is your battery charge indicator. It's not just 5 and a fancy little, see-through cover. This lights up to show your state of charge. So when you're at a public charge on a longer journey and you've got the car charging, you're not going to have to go inside, boot up the car to see what battery percentage you're on. You've got a little indicator here, and each little bar of the 5 represents 20%. I just think that's a little feature that is really, really neat. Okay then, let's take this French puppy on the road. We are literally in the middle of nowhere in the Peak District, and it's very rocky, so it's going to be a little bit of off-roading, but this car handles it really well, surprisingly, and it's only front-wheel drive. It doesn't weigh a huge amount. I'm sure I'll put the weight figure on screen. Nice reversing camera, guide me round. There we go. And it's happy days, and we're off. Who needs a Land Rover? This is pretty good. I'll talk about the suspension later on, once we're on some proper roads, but my God, is it impressive for a tiny car like this. It handles a horrific road like this, if you can even call it a road, pretty well. It's like proper green laning this. Proper French test, the old TCV test going over, a field with a basket of eggs. I honestly think this car would cope with that challenge pretty well. We're on the famous Cat and the Fiddle Road, very famous road for motorcyclists and drivers, and lots of journalists come here and stuff, but this road really is proving that electric cars can be fun. They can be dynamic. They don't have to be heavy and bloated and feel, almost like you're rolling into corners, because this handles really well. Renault seem to really nail their suspension setups. They seem to be really comfortable, and the dampening seems to be immense. But they also handle well. Obviously, that's the Renault Sport pedigree. They've always been good at chassis and suspension and just setting up a car, really. And driving along a road like this, you can really fall for the Renault 5. It feels dynamic. And obviously, you've got the instant torque as well. And it's a zippy little car. We'll talk about figures later on with the Daniel Drives book of notes. But yeah, beautiful place. And I'm driving an absolutely amazing car. I really love it. Nice tight little corner. It holds on really well. It's on, I think it's Continental Eco thingy tyres, but yeah, they hold well in the corners, to be fair. That's something our old E-Up used to really roll into corners because they were really skinny tyres, but wow, that's a tight corner, but it holds on. I suppose it's not a heavy car, and it's quite small. I suppose the wheel's quite close together, but it handles really well. And this is in comfort mode. If I knock it into sport, everything gets a little bit more lively. Throttle response, and obviously the dashboard turns red. But regen's really fun around these lanes because you can come off the throttle, and obviously it engine brakes for you with the motor. This car is really lively around these roads. It's actually a really pleasant surprise. So it's got a 110 kilowatt-hour motor driving the front wheels, roughly equivalent to about 150 horsepower. Now, the standard Renault 5s have 120 horsepower, but 150 horsepower does not sound much in the grand scheme of things in today's day and age, where cars are super powerful for what reason, I don't know. But yeah, because of the instant torque and everything, this feels plenty fast enough for what it weighs as well and the size of the car. I honestly have not driven this at all this week and gone, ooh, if only it had more power. It's plenty. It's got a 52 kilowatt hour battery in the floor. The standard ones, the urban range models, have 40 kilowatt hours. This is the comfort range, a bit bigger. And that gives a WLTP range of roughly 251 miles. Now I can kind of vouch for that because when I picked it up from London, I averaged 5 miles per kilowatt hour on the way home, which is roughly 240-ish miles on a full charge with that efficiency. But around town it's kind of dropped to around 4.5 miles per kilowatt hour. Now, we've had great weather this week, but I have been using the aircon and everything. I've been really staggered by the efficiency of this car. I've taken 5 minutes to pull over on this beautiful lane and whip out the Daniel Drives book of notes. It's back, ladies and gentlemen, and it is full of all of the Renault 5 information that you'd like to know. So 0 to 60 in this car, the highest spec comfort range model, is 7.9 seconds. Trust me, it feels quicker. Top speed of 93 miles per hour, obviously not really needed. And that's the thing with electric cars, the top speed is never that great, but speed limit's 70, so you don't need that. 181 pound-feet of torque, but that's instant obviously, so you really feel it. Let's talk about charging. So it can charge a maximum rate of 100 kilowatt hours, sorry, 100 kilowatts, got to get that right, on a rapid CCS charge, because this can fast charge. And that means charging from 15 to 80% in just 30 minutes. That's crazy. Now, if you don't know electric cars, obviously the first sort of 0 to 15% and the last bit of charge, of 80 to 100, takes longer. So they say the quickest time to charge is between 15 and 80%, just 30 minutes. The insurance group is 22, which is quite low. And on the road, this car costs £30,000. This paint colour, this lovely blue, I've actually got the colour here, I think. Midnight blue with the diamond black roof. This one's £30,000, but if you go for the standard black, I think it is, it's 28,995. But obviously if you go for the urban range, smaller battery motor option, you'll be paying 22,995. And then you go through to the Techno from the Evolution, then Iconic, and then the new version, which is the Roland Garros, which my friend Ewan says is something to do with tennis. God knows, to be honest. So yeah, it's fantastic, this car, and the specs mean nothing because the way it drives is just so mighty impressive. In a world where new cars are being congested with new pieces of tech, it's got to be celebrated when a car comes around like this with this amount of character. It makes you laugh and it's a joy to drive. The Renault 5 is a car that so many people remember from back in the day and have so many positive memories in. And Renault have absolutely mastered this new Renault 5. You know, it represents a new era for the brand while still celebrating its past and its heritage. It's such a lovely car to drive, and it's proof, as I said earlier on in the video, that electric cars can have a soul. They're not just dishwashers on wheels. They can be exciting. I really like this car. So then, to conclude, perhaps my favourite video I've done in the history of Daniel Drives, just for the opportunity. We're here at Irwood Reservoir, here in the Peak District. It's a stunning area, and this is only 40, 50 minutes away from where I live. I really should come here more often. This car, where do I even start when it comes to concluding with this car? It's so good. I picked it up on Monday, and tomorrow is Friday. It's going back to Renault, and honestly, I'm going to be very sad to see this go. And I said in the previous video, the ultimate compliment. If I was to buy an electric car myself, it would be a Renault, and it would be a Renault 5. I'd have one in yellow because I think it looks cool in yellow, but this blue looks brilliant, and it's a genuinely good car. Car of the Year 2025, I think that says it all. I'd like to say a huge thank you to the guys and girls at Renault UK for just trusting me really with this car and allowing me to have this opportunity this week to spend some time, you know, getting to know it properly. And I know everyone's done their reviews already, but I wanted to try and do a bit different spin about how electric cars can have soul and personality. So if you've enjoyed this episode of Daniel Drives, then please make sure you subscribe. It helps the growth of the channel, maybe even leave a comment. What do you think about electric cars? And what do you think about this one, the Renault 5 E-Tech? I think it's absolutely amazing. I really want one. Remember to follow me on social media at DanielCars05, and I will see you very soon. So here's a little bit for the end of the video. We were just getting down from the little rocky surface where most of the video has been filmed, and we see an RS3 at the bottom. Lovely little car. And we're going down the hill, and I've got Jacob and Ewan, my two friends who have been helping with filming today with me. And we're going, is that MSB? And it was MSB. He's known as Michael Shoeblacker on social media. I'm sure you've all seen him. And yeah, he was there, so shook his hand and got a photo with him. That is such a coincidence when you're in the middle of nowhere like this. It's just, wow is the only word, really. Behind the scenes. The mic is on me. I want to go home and this footage is just like... Need a windbreak.
Get out of this stuff there.
I told you to stop eating beans. You've been blown about like a dandelion. Dandelion. Do you ever get bored? have a quick look.